Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's show, Tzu Chi volunteers and Tima medical staff in the United States are holding free clinics for those in need. We explore the reason behind the severe June flooding in Taiwan's Taoyuan and find out how Kaohsiung is using detention ponds to prevent flooding. And in our feature reports on the island's fading trades, we learn about the beauty behind the making of 8 immortal mural. In California, many residents are without medical insurance, so Tzu Chi and Tima doctors have scheduled free clinics in hopes of helping those in need. In Fort Brooke, a community in northern San Diego County, Tima held a successful free clinic with the help of 36 medical staff, many local volunteers, and a Spanish translator. And in Northern California, Modesto was also the location for another free clinic, providing services of both Western and Chinese medicine doctors.
Before the start of the free clinic, Tzu Chi volunteers pray for the residents' health. Many arrive early for a place in line. Mark Wilburn was first in line, as he didn't want to miss the chance to see a Chinese medicine doctor.
This is acupuncture for my feet, but they're doing it on my head. And it works. It's very good. I like it. It's helping me. I love it. I think you guys are doing a great job.
The mayor of Modesto also arrived to show his support of Tzu Chi volunteers. Seeing the hardworking team of doctors, he is amazed at how efficient everyone is.
I was really surprised at how many people you served in just a short time and in such a small space. So we appreciate choosing Modesto.
The mayor come to Tzu Chi Foundation's activity a lot. For a lot of 像玉福节, our mayor also come.
Altogether, at this free clinic in Modesto, Tima doctors saw 164 patients. A free clinic was also held in Fallbrook, a small community east of Camp Pendleton in California.
Tzu Chi is a good organization, so many volunteers are willing to come help out.
I think this is a very good cause, and everyone is so willing to come help at the free clinic. Helping out others is what Taiwan, is what Tzu Chi is all about. It's something worth learning.
George Lytle has taught English in Taiwan, so he is especially enthusiastic to volunteer with Tzu Chi. Eli Ortiz, who helped in finding the free clinic site, wanted to thank Tzu Chi with the help of translator Maria Rocha.
Tzu Chi has given us the hand and has been able to help us and be able to help others.
Tzu Chi continues to cross religious boundaries, as the free clinic site was held at St. Peter's Catholic Church. No matter your religion or belief, everyone continues to pay the love forward.
Following the Christchurch earthquake disaster last year, New Zealand Tzu Chi volunteers continue to care for underprivileged students in the disaster area. Volunteers are also providing needy schools with new technologies to help students learn better, whether it be an iPad or a sound system.
In New Zealand, at the Phillipstown School in Christchurch, a classroom is filled to the brim with the school's principal, students, teachers, and parents, all welcoming the Tzu Chi volunteers.
What we call is bamboo piggy bank. All the donation will be 100% used to help the people in New Zealand. Okay.
After the volunteers' explanation of Tzu Chi, the students donate coins from their pockets into the coin bank. The main purpose of Tzu Chi volunteers' visit today is to present the school with gifts of shoes, uniform, and iPads for students and teachers.
I just want to say that these will be put to very, very good use, and they will certainly help our children with their learning, knowing that they're warm with very good quality shoes and uniforms. So if we could put our hands together and just say thank you.
Linwood College, also a recipient school for iPads, took this opportunity to thank Tzu Chi for all their help following the Christchurch earthquake disaster last year.
2011 Christchurch earthquake. Thank you to Buddhist Compassion Relief Tzu Chi Foundation for your generous donation. Thank you so much.
In other parts of New Zealand, the Freeman's Bay School in Auckland is situated near a noisy highway. So when class is held, teachers have to raise their voice in order to be heard over the sounds of cars. On top of this, some students have hearing problems. Solving that problem is Tzu Chi's gift of dynamic sound field system.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
With this sound system, the teachers speak through a microphone, and the sounds are clearly transmitted to every corner of the classroom, helping students easily hear every word. To thank the volunteers, the students made a poster to show their gratitude.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. We will put their hand up in our foundation to help everybody. They so love these students here. Right? And what they have done. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. San Jose Tzu Chi volunteers arranged a 4-day cultural trip for Tzu Chi High School students participating in the 2012 U.S. study tour. They visited local scenic spots as well as Stanford University and UC Berkeley. The trip gave the students an opportunity to explore the possibilities for their further study, as well as understand the philosophy of Tzu Chi and Tzu Qing Club.
These were donated, and we bought those works. We've collected 100,000 more ancient books.
In addition to ancient books, the students also find works of Master Zheng Yan in the library.
UC Berkeley is quite a famous university. I'm very surprised that it collects Tzu Chi's work.
Surprise.
然后用纸摸一摸，印出来。对对对对，铅笔嘛，1块钱放在下面，这样印。然后这是北宋印的一页，这些都是真迹哦，都是原版。那这是宋朝的佛经。
UC Berkeley and Stanford University are destinations that Taiwanese students aspire to visit.
欢迎大家来到 Stanford 大学。我们是 Stanford 慈经团。
The history of Stanford University is shown on school buildings or even floors. After listening to their guides, the students better understand the philosophy of service and culture the school upholds, and many hope to attend the school one day themselves.
The website of Stanford University is one of the best university websites in the U.S. It contains various information for students and encourages them to participate in public service or to engage with people. I really like it.
Besides schoolwork, many of the universities in the U.S. also encourage their students to take part in public service. Tzu Chi students also visit Tzu Chi San Jose chapter and San Francisco branch to make future connections. When these students go to the U.S. for further study in the future, Tzu Chi will be their home in the U.S.
Residents in low-lying areas of Kaohsiung, Taiwan, faces the threat of floods with every typhoon. To help, the local government has built a network of detention ponds and pump stations that have done much to help stem flood waters following heavy rains or typhoon. To the north, Taoyuan County was for years flood-free. However, following the monsoon rain this June, it was hit by the worst flooding in memory. After further investigation, it was discovered that Taoyuan originally had a very effective natural flood barrier in the many ponds and channels dug by farmers and residents around the county. These ponds, connected by drainage channels, acted as natural detention ponds that absorbed excess water during typhoons. However, with the rapid development of the countryside in Taoyuan County, this network pond has slowly disappeared. In our series of where does the water go, we take a look at how these detention ponds or the absence of them can make the difference between a dry home or a disaster zone.
If it floods, because this is the lowest lying area, it will flood up to the first floor. And so we've moved everything to the second floor and above.
In desperation, residents have created their own flood barriers as well as petitioned the government to take action. In response, after Typhoon Trami, the local government built Taiwan's first ever city-centered detention pool to help with flood control. Benhe Boro's detention pool was finished in 2005. Here's the lowest lying area of the district, while to the north is Golden Line Pond, which covers around 10 hectares. The two have become the district's detention ponds.
Most residents see the detention ponds as just being another normal pond. Here we see not only a pond, but also plenty of green space around it for people to use, to exercise or relax. However, the pond, with the pumping station next to it, has been instrumental in helping end the nightmare of flooding for nearby residents.
The sewer below Mincheng Road in Kaohsiung is called the Cat Line. The Cat Line is easily affected by the pool of the water of the Love River. So when the Cat Line is full of water, the water in the drainage system of the low-lying Benhe Borough can't get seawater into the Cat Line.
The detention pool and the pumping station work hand in hand. When the waters of the K line reach a height of 4.2 meters, the pumping will start, and in 2 hours, the system can pump up to 100,000 tons of water. The same system is being copied in the Gangsan district's Baimi Borough.
During Typhoon Morakot, we had flooding here up to 60 centimeters. After Typhoon Fanapi in 2010, we had flooding of up to 2 meters. After the A District detention pond was built 2 years ago, there has been no more flooding.
The A District detention pool can hold up to 450,000 tons of flood water, and this is only one of the 6 different sized detention pools that the Water Resource Bureau has placed around the Dianbao River. Used together, they have been able to prevent flooding in nearby communities.
The A detention pond can handle 450,000 tons. The B and D detention pools can both handle 1,050,000 tons. These 3 pools handle most of the runoff.
Although impressive, the detention pools were still not able to prevent flooding following Typhoon Fanapi in 2010, which brought flooding as high as 1.8 meters in some places, proving that there is still room for improvement. Up north, Taoyuan City recently had its worst flooding in memory.
In Taoyuan, due to water system and topography limitations, the first settlers here dug ponds linked by channels for irrigation, creating the densest network of such ponds in Taiwan. However, these ponds were soon covered up in the construction of new commercial and residential developments, meaning the city lost its protection from floods that was offered by these ponds. Therefore, following heavy rains, the streets of Taoyuan turned into rivers.
Originally, the ponds formed a network which was connected by channels. Both with development, these ponds were slowly filled in. They could no longer help move water, and thus their ability to combat flooding was also reduced.
With the support of the Taoyuan County government, large construction projects were carried out in and around Taoyuan City. This meant that the ponds that once helped with flood control were one by one covered with concrete and disappeared.
Let's take a look at the development of the Qingpu TSR depot area. First, during the development, they filled in a lot of ponds in order to develop the land. Second, during the development, they didn't pay attention to which areas are low-lying. They simply mapped the areas out and divided into commercial and residential areas. Inside the yellow lines were residential. Inside the red line were commercial. They never thought about which areas might be more prone to flooding. In the empty areas of cities, water is seen as important resources, but now we see how people have come to see water as an enemy that they want to get rid of as quickly as possible so they can develop the land that belongs to them.
In Taiwan, with its high population density and cases of land misuse, flooding is a problem that is always on the horizon. In order to put an end to this problem, a comprehensive land plan needs to be created. That takes into account not only commercial and residential interests, but Taiwan's topography and the will of Mother Nature. In our next segment, we take our viewers to Yunlin County to look at how residents there are handling the problems of underground water and floods.
In Taiwan, when someone gets married or moves into a new house, you will see a large piece of red fabric, about 3.5 meters in length, detailing the 8 immortals and many colorful patterns. Taiwanese call it the 8 immortals mural. The seemingly easy to make patterns actually require days of hard work to produce. In our feature report on the island sunset trades, we meet a talented embroidery master in Tainan, 72-year-old Lin Yuquan, who is known for his excellent work in sewing the faces of the 8 saints.
The 8 Immortals mural is mainly used when one moves into a new house. The most difficult part is stitching the face. The face of Iron Crotch Lee must be black, and he has to have a mustache, and his eyebrows are also different. Every character is quite different in their design.
72-year-old Lin Yuquan, born in 1941, is known as a talented embroidery master. Speaking of the 8 Immortals mural, the craftsman takes out one piece after another as examples. The most difficult part of the artwork is sewing the character's face.
You must pull these real tight.
Firmly fixing the piece of red fabric to the wooden frame is the first step to making a good piece of artwork. Next, the artisan sews cotton on to mold the shape of the face.
We must sew the side of the face. No one makes them facing the front, so I have to pinch it here and there. That's why we call it molding the character.
With many years of experience, Lin Yuquan knows exactly how much cotton he needs and where to put it in making the foreheads and cheeks. Next, the cotton is sewed using zigzag techniques and then glued together. Lin Yuquan pays close attention as he makes sure there's no gap between his needlework. Behind the seemingly simple face are over 200 stitches, which required a good eye and patience to complete.
We don't make a draft. We always depend on our experience. We must take time to make each character, so just the head alone takes at least 3 days. A plum flower aged like this, one of our masters is really good at making it. It is no longer than 90 centimeters, but it is all handmade. The most you can make in a day is about 60 centimeters.
Every mural of the 8 Immortals is handmade and requires a minimum of a week to produce. Lin, who began learning the craft when he was just 16, says the past 50 years seemed like just one day to him.
I came into the industry because my father told me to. The past few decades has felt like one day to me. The more murals I make, the happier I am. The reason for that is many from cultural and government organizations recognize our work, and that makes me happy.
In its heyday, because of religious beliefs, Lin Yuquan had to employ more than 10 craftsmen to meet the large amount of orders. Today, with competition from abroad, Lin's business has dropped by a half. However, he is not about to give up.
This mural is for the future generations, so that they know how to stitch these characters. When I made this, I was thinking about passing on my skills. That's why I made these special patterns. Some of them, no one has ever made them before. I don't mind lowering the prices. I just need to earn my outlay back. That's my ideal.
To preserve and pass on the traditional skills, Lin Yuchen is determined to lead future generations on this path of culture. As we learned from a last report, a handmade mural of the 8 immortals takes a long time to produce. With competition from abroad and machine-made murals, the traditional craftwork is struggling to survive. Tainan's embroidery master Lin Yuchen's daughter, Lin Jieyu, has always been interested in her father's work, but was unable to reproduce the variety of needlework of her father. After a long search, the woman decided to combine the handicraft with paintings or photography in hopes of preserving the fading trade. Personally demonstrating how to sew a leaf is 66-year-old Wang Qingyue, who is quite a strict teacher.
You need to lift your hand and take it slow.
The woman has 46 years of experience in needlework, and right next to her is a third-year university student who is on his first day as an apprentice. In just one morning, the boy has realized the difficulty behind the handicraft.
I poke my fingers all the time, and that's not the only thing. It hurts my eyes too. It's quite tiring, but I want to be a fashion designer in the future, so I need to have these basic skills.
The student understands the importance of getting the basics right, something that the second-generation owner of the embroidery store, Lin Jieyu, also recognizes.
I am a woman, and my dad, being a man, we have different strengths, and we each play different roles in this business. So I decided to find an area where I can put my creativity to the test, but at the same time, keep the traditional culture of my dad.
As the eldest daughter, Lin Jieyu, who studied graphic design, is trying to preserve her father's legacy, but at the same time create her own artwork. Combining sewing techniques with photography, the artist is able to produce abstract designs.
The embroidery work here is something that photos can't depict. It shows what one is feeling deep down inside.
There's a differences in the fabrics, and what he is doing here is using the idea of patchwork. What we have here is really just the most basic sewing techniques.
Lin Jieyu even works with universities and uses the pattern of the 8 immortals in the photos, as she hopes to inspire students to be just as creative.
It is not just cultural merchandise, it is more of a boutique. So just like these 2 teachers, his artwork and his message, we pass on to our students. We basically preserve these embroidery techniques. Traditional and modern threading together makes a beautiful piece of artwork.
Lin Jieyu, who is already the mother of 3, is determined to do whatever she can to let the embroidery trade shine on. The Chinese community takes up 40% of the population in Indonesia and is one of the most influential ethnic groups in the nation. However, many of the younger generation do not speak Mandarin. Thus, the Tzu Chi Batam Liaison Office established a moral education class, which opened at the end of June with 70 students. The class not only teaches Mandarin, but is also focused on character building. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.